Good afternoon. This is Larry Tentarelli with today's edition of Your Daily 5 for StockCharts.com. Today I'm going to share 5 ideas that are very high on my list. So we'll start with a brief introduction. You can find me. My website is bluechipdaily.com. You can find me on Twitter at LMT978. My website is Blue Chip Daily Trend Report, and we'll get started. So I've got 5 charts today that I think are set up very well. I've got positions in a few of these charts, and I've got 1 or 2 that are on my watch list. So we'll go through the charts. So we'll start with the gold ETF GLD. So we've got a position in GLD for a little while now, and we can see that GLD is in a very strong uptrend. It's got a series of higher highs, higher lows. We've got rising 20-day, 50-day, and 100-day moving averages. And the key thing on this chart, there's a few things, but it's one of the stronger uptrends that's on the screen, because if we take a look at this rising 20-day moving average, which is a very good barometer of shorter term strength, we can see that GLD has not closed below the 20-day since it reclaimed it back in the beginning of November. So that's a very, very strong uptrend, rising 50-day moving average. So what I do is the 20-day moving average is what I use for shorter term trend momentum. And then the 50-day really is the key for intermediate term trend. Very, very strong move. Gold has been moving higher with the US dollar pulling back so far. And while it could always pull back at any time, especially strong uptrends, they can pull back at any time over the 20-day and over the 50-day, and especially over the 50-day. I'd give this chart the benefit of the doubt, and it's very close to a bullish 50-200-day moving average cross. So this is one of our top ideas coming into 2023. And it's been working out well so far. Chart number 2, we've got a position here as well, Exxon Mobil. So Exxon is one of the market cap leaders in the world in the energy sector. So energy has been a very polarizing sector over the last 6 months or so. The media has had a lot of recession calls, but it hasn't showed up yet in Exxon Mobil. So if we take a look, we've got Exxon very, very close to a potential breakout level. It's over 4 rising moving averages. So the 20, 50, 100, and 200-day are all rising. It's notable that while energy had some sharp pullbacks in 2022, Exxon was one of the few energy stocks that held over the 200-day moving average. So where it is right now, we've got a wide support base at, we'll call it 102. So 100 to 102 is a very wide support base, very, very close to a potential breakout. 20-day looks like it might be close to possibly crossing the 50-day moving average. And also energy, I continue to think that what's happening in China with their reopening efforts, I continue to think that will put upwards pressure on commodities prices. It already has. We've seen it with copper and with the miners, and we can see this Exxon uptrend is very, very strong. Crude oil recently tested in the 70s. Crude oil unwound quite a bit, but Exxon has held up very well. It's a lower valuation stock. It's got nice cash flow, nice dividend yield, but a very strong uptrend, very close to a potential breakout right where it is. So we've got a position there. Chart number 3, this is a new position for us that we started last week on the website. So EEM, which is the Emerging Markets ETF. So this is primarily China with a 33% weighting in China. It also has the other emerging markets, India, Taiwan, South Korea, Brazil, quite a few. But the key thing, the entry signal here was the close over the 200-day moving average. So if we take a look back on this chart, we can see that EEM, this is a 1-year chart, but we can see that EEM had been below that 200-day moving average all of 2022, actually going back quite a bit further, but all of 2022. And then what we see here is, number one, a bullish close over the 200-day moving average. We've had some nice volume coming in. If we take a look at the higher volume bars, they're all on the up days. So end of November, we had 2 in the middle of November. And then if we take a look in since 2023 started, EEM has been higher for all except for 1 day so far in 2023. A lot of volume coming in. 20-day is rising. The 50-day is rising. The 20-day looks like it's just about to cross over the 200-day moving average. So there's a lot of bullish trend signals on this chart. Also at 41.03, that looks like a high going back to June. So we've got a 7-month high. If we take a look at the chart, we can see it's got a very nice price base that it's starting to break out from. So like all charts, they could always have some back and fill. I'm not so focused on the intraday and the day-to-day moves and the intraday volatility, but what I'm looking for is the major trend. Over the 200-day, 7-month highs, rising 20-day, rising 50-day. I think this is set up fine exactly where it is. And on any pullbacks, once again, I'd want to see this rising 50-day moving average hold. We'll move to chart number 4. So we've got a position here. Actually, I brought 4 stocks that were 4 charts that we've got open positions in, but I think that they continue to set up well. So HCA Healthcare it's really been a leader in the healthcare sector. So year to date, healthcare is actually down. The healthcare sector has been a little bit weaker. The staple sector has been a little bit weaker. But if we take a look at HCA Healthcare, we can see where it is 257.53. This goes back to a high going back to April. So that's about 8 to 9 month highs right where it is. We've got 4 rising moving averages, 20, 50, 100, 200 day, just starting to turn up. But this has been a very, very strong stock. And if we take a look at the breakout level, once it cleared 220 to 225, it's been pretty much straight up. It's held that 20-day except for a few small closes below, but also the rising 50-day. So for whatever reason, healthcare has been a little bit weaker this year. Maybe there's been a rotation into international and into some higher beta metals and miners, things like that. But this HCA chart, for those that are looking in the healthcare sector, this continues to trend higher. So they could always pull back, but once again, over this rising 50-day, I want to give that chart the benefit of the doubt on the long side, and we've got a position there. And then the last chart, this is a chart that I've had on the watch list for a few weeks now. I didn't want to do anything with the stock before earnings because, as we know, in this market environment, earnings reports can be extremely volatile and choppy. But Taiwan Semiconductor, I believe they're the largest publicly traded semiconductor company in the world. Looks like $450 billion market cap. But there's a lot of constructive things on this chart. So they did report earnings yesterday. Earnings were well received. The stock was up 6% and change. And we can see a lot of the same characteristics that we saw in EEM, we're also seeing in Taiwan Semi. Now, Taiwan Semi is the #1 position in the EEM ETF. But if we take a look over the past few months at the volume bars, all of the very high volume days have been to the upside. Year to date, there's been some nice volume coming in. And we've got a couple things. Number one, 200-day moving average reclaim. It lost the 200-day back in February. We've got a reclaim after earnings on high volume coming out of a price base, rising 20-day, 50-day, a lot of constructive price points on this chart. So I've got this on the watch list. I might look to start a position today or Tuesday. We'll see how everything works out. And I think that the potential upside far outweighs the risk. So I use stop losses on everything. So if I start a position here, I'll have a stop loss, a technical stop loss that makes sense for me. But I think that there's very good potential reward versus risk on this chart in Taiwan Semi. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed the content, and we look forward to seeing you online.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.